Ali Akbarian, your resident road safety expert from Mobility Engineering, back again for another special Q&A. Starting off straight in position and ready to go. Thank you very much for your questions, and thank you very much for tuning in. We love those questions, and we love the community that are tuning in. And as I always say with my trusty subscribe pillow, thank you very much for your support. We're just over 300 subscribers. Hit that button that looks a bit like that pillow somewhere down here to the bottom of the screen. Help us get to that 1,000 subscribers. We'd love your support around that, and then we'll get rid of this pillow and we'll come up with something else. So let's get on to today's question, which is all around traveling in seatbelts, in wheelchairs with seatbelts. So the question basically comes, again, from our occupational therapist community. Shout out to the community out there. Effectively, what it says is, if I do not have an upper body restraint on my wheelchair, so if my wheelchair only has a lap-only belt, then what do I do? So what well, it doesn't say what do I do. What it asks is, can I use the wheelchair harness or an extra postural support harness for upper body restraint instead if I don't have this option here, right? So that's basically what the question says. So what I'll do is I'll explain the whole process of how everything works, and then it'll all make sense. So what we have here is a standard over-the-shoulder seatbelt for a wheelchair, and a wheelchair that's all been secured and docked in place into the back of a vehicle. It's on our rig here at our assessment centre, but if you can imagine, this would be the situation in the back of a vehicle, right? So we've covered videos before, and we'll put a link below, how this is the legal form of transport in 2020, 2019, and so on and so forth. This is how you're supposed to be transporting. However, because of the past, where this was not legal in the past, you have a lot of situations where there is wheelchair transport with lap-only belts and they don't have this part. So what I'll do is I'll undo my belt and I'll set that up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if I get rid of my over-the-shoulder component, what I have here now is just a lap-only belt for my wheelchair occupant. So that's just the lap-only belt there like that. This is a very, very common, probably the most common way that wheelchair occupants are being secured in Australia is through this lap belt, right? And there is no upper body support. Now, or upper body restraint, should I say, not support, restraint. It's very important to understand that word. So we very strongly advocate against this practice. Every occupant in a vehicle should have an over-the-shoulder seatbelt, and we always recommend, if you've got a lap-only belt, the first thing you should do, or your first option, is to go and upgrade the situation in the vehicle and fit an over-the-shoulder seatbelt. So that means further modifications and potentially spending further money, but that would be the first priority and the first option, would be upgrade it and fit an actual seatbelt. If we don't have that, then the question has come along, can I use the wheelchair harness or a support harness instead? So I'll pull this up and I will explain to you the situation using the demonstration here. So what we have here is a wheelchair with a support harness on it, right? So this is a Kariba harness, right? So it's a separate harness that's being fitted onto the chair, and it's a postural support harness. So what the question is asking is, if I've got my lap belt fitted on my occupant like that, then I don't have an upper body restraint. So can I just use this instead? The answer is actually no, you can't. Because if you, in the form of transport, if this was connected to the back of the seat and you had an accident and the seat was not able to hold that force, then it's quite a large chance that this seat will actually break and cause more injury and more danger than if you did not have this harness, right? So generally speaking, you should not use a postural harness as a restraint device. Well, actually, when I say generally speaking, always speaking, you should never ever use something that is made for postural or for medical use for a automotive safety use. They are completely two different, 100% different things, and they function in different ways. As I've said in many of my training courses and videos, you have a lot of dynamics and a lot of forces in an accident. So in a lot of cases, if you don't use things properly, they turn from a safety device into a weapon that can cause massive injuries and potential problems in the vehicle. So you are actually better off to not use anything. The only time you would be able to use it, or we would recommend and say, well, okay, fine, you can use it, would be if you actually really legitimately needed that for postural support and you had no other way of transporting. So if you had to have that for postural support and you literally had no other option and you needed to transport, then you would have to do a risk assessment. I would probably consult some kind of safety engineer as well, and also the manufacturer of the wheelchair, to make sure the wheelchair is strong enough to hold this harness. But it's a huge risk, and you have to understand that it's something that is not advisable, but we do also understand that people have needs, and they do have the need for the support. So if there is an absolute must, you do need to go through some risk assessments and make sure you're covering all the safety aspects, but it is possible. But you have to understand that you are not increasing your safety by putting that postural support there. You are, if anything, you're decreasing it, or you're putting that there for is postural support. So if in your mind at any time you think, oh, it'll be good to have that there because it'll give them extra protection or secure them in an accident, completely wrong way of thinking and potentially very dangerous way of thinking. So yeah, hopefully that helps with the inquiry, which is, can I use a postural support if as an upper body restraint, basically, if I've only got a lap only belt? And generally speaking, no. The option is upgrade your, the first option would be to upgrade your vehicle and have the upper body restraint fitted. And in this case, it's actually just an optional belt that just gets fitted. In some cases, you might need a whole new system. And that's what we would recommend. So thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks for those questions. Keep those questions coming. Hit that subscribe button, should I say, and we'll see you next time.